Hey guys, we are back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to remove your engine on your Ae92. Now if you are just tuning in for the first time, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more cool content just like this one. Let's get into it. So in this occasion, this is my 1989 Toyota Corolla GTS. However, this can be done on, any other Ae92 like the SR5 or even the sedan. Now, in my 89 Corolla, I happened to blow the engine on my Corolla, so this is pretty sad. However, I'm going to be showing you how to go through the process of taking this bad boy out if you're going to replace it or even rebuild it, or even, go for an engine swap maybe. Now, one of the first things that you're going to want to do when it comes to removing your engine and starting that process is obviously disconnect the battery. And once you do that, you're going to do one of the first easiest things, and it's removing the wiring harness. So you're going to start disconnecting it from all the accessories. And as you're disconnecting it from those accessories, you're going to want to disconnect those accessories. For example, when you're starting to follow those wirings, that's when you're going to want to disconnect, like, let's say the fan to give you more room, the battery, obviously. You're going to want to disconnect the starter. It makes it easier to remove that, that wire. You're going to want to disconnect that alternator. That'll give you more room and unlock more room. Disconnecting maybe that ignition coil for if you have a GTS. But disconnecting a lot of these accessories, opens up more room when it comes to removing this engine. Now, the other things that you're going to want to do is disconnect the intake manifold. Not only does it open up so much more room, but it allows you to pull the engine a lot easier so it doesn't get caught on anything if you're pulling it up. So that's one of the first things you're going to want to do as well, after, doing all the easy things. Another thing that you're going to want to do once you disconnect the intake manifold, you're going to want to cover these holes up with a cloth so nothing gets in. And then this gives you good access to the shifter cables, so you could go ahead and disconnect the shifter cables as well, because like I said, it unlocks so much more room. Also, make sure you take pictures of the vacuum hoses, the coolant hoses, to make sure you know where they're going to be connected to once you get this engine back into the car. Now that you got all those things out, go ahead and disconnect all the miscellaneous things like, these grounds, any other hoses holding it in, like these coolant hoses that go to the heater core. You're going to want to disconnect those. You're going to want to if you have a manual car, you're going to want to disconnect the clutch hose. You're going to want to disconnect this coolant hose. You want to disconnect pretty much everything that holds the engine in. And once you do all that, you're pretty much set. Like if you, have an automatic car, you're going to want to disconnect the starter and gain bolts to that flex plate. So you could disconnect the flex plate bolts. But if you want, you could also disconnect that once the engine and transmission is out of the car. However, like I said, just all those small things, then you could, disconnect the major things. Start getting these motor mounts loosed or, ready to be loosened. So you could disconnect that motor mount, and then leave these two for last. And then, biggest thing is you're going to want to disconnect this hood so you could have more clearance to, use a cherry picker to get this engine out of here. Last but not least, don't forget to disconnect the CV axles. That's one thing you definitely don't want to forget. However, like I said, this is a very simple engine, very simple car. It's built in 1989, so it's going to be very simplistic. There's not a lot of electronics, so not a lot holding in. Like I said, it's just exhaust system, CV axles, the wiring harness holds in, the accessories. You're going to want to disconnect the vacuum lines and the coolant lines, shifter cables, obviously the motor mounts, coolant hoses, and then the clutch line. Just very small, simple things to disconnect, and obviously the grounds, but it's a very easy thing to do. So I definitely hope this brought you guys a lot of value. If you have any questions when it comes to pulling your engine, doing an engine swap, or any of the few, leave them below, or feel free to message me on Instagram at Tooth for Speed without the 2 E's. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.